Every 24 hours, your brain flushes out nearly 50% of everything you tried to learn today because you're using an operating system that hasn't been updated in 200,000 years. It's a brutal reality. We spend hours scrolling, reading, or sitting in meetings, but by tomorrow morning, half of that effort is just gone. It's like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. But over the next 25 minutes, we're breaking down the exact four-step neural hijack that forces your brain to save information instead of deleting it. I'm going to give you a mental toolbox that cuts your study or reading time in half while doubling how much you actually remember a month from now. If you skip this, you're going to keep doing what most people do, passive reading, which is basically just staring at paper and hoping your brain accidentally keeps the info. Hint, it won't. You're going to stay stuck on 1990s software while the world moves at fiber optic speeds. The book we're looking into is called Upgrade Your Brain: The Secret to Learn Faster, Remember Longer. I listened to the audiobook version recently, and honestly, it changed how I look at my own head. This isn't some dry science textbook that's going to put you to sleep with Latin words and diagrams of neurons. It's a manual for the biological supercomputer sitting between your ears. It's written for the overwhelmed professional who has 50 tabs open, or the student who feels like their hard drive is already full. We live in a world of TikTok-length attention spans, and this book is the antidote. It explains why we forget and how to take advantage of something called neuroplasticity to make learning feel like a superpower rather than a chore. Let's start with the biggest lie we've all been told: the myth of being smart. Most of us grew up thinking intelligence was like height. You're born with a certain amount, and that's just what you've got to work with. You're either a math person or you aren't. You're good at languages or you're a lost cause. The book completely shreds this idea. Intelligence isn't a fixed birthright. It's a muscle you build through specific tension. Think about going to the gym. If you lift a weight that's too light, nothing happens. Your muscles don't grow because they aren't being challenged. Your brain works the exact same way. When you struggle to understand a difficult concept, that's not a sign that you're dumb. That's actually the sound of your brain leveling up. But wait, the way we were taught to exercise this muscle in school, it was actually making us weaker. Think back to how you studied for a history test. You probably highlighted the textbook, reread your notes, and maybe made some flashcards. Research shows that rereading and highlighting are two of the least effective ways to learn. They create an illusion of competence. You feel like you know the material because your eyes recognize the words on the page, but the info isn't actually stored in your long-term memory. It's just sitting in your short-term buffer, waiting to be deleted the second the test is over. If you've ever finished a page and realized you have no idea what you just read, hit that like button. It lets me know I'm not the only one. Seriously, it happens to the best of us, and it's because we're being passive. Let's dive into the fix. The book introduces what I like to call the Feynman technique on steroids. You might have heard of Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist. His whole deal was that if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't actually know it. But the book takes this further by adding active recall loops. Instead of reading a chapter and moving on, you close the book and force yourself to write down everything you remember on a blank sheet of paper. No peeking. This is painful. It feels like your brain is grinding gears, but that pain is the tension that builds the muscle. By forcing your brain to retrieve the information without help, you're telling your biological OS, hey, this info is important, don't delete it. And here's the kicker. The more you struggle to remember it in that moment, the deeper it sinks in. It's like trying to find a specific file on a messy desk. The first time is hard. The second time is easier. By the fifth time, you know exactly where it is. This leads us right into the concept of the forgetting curve and spaced repetition. There's a guy named Hermann Ebbinghaus who studied how we forget things. He found that memory decays at an exponential rate. You learn something at 10 a.m., and by 10 p.m., a huge chunk of it is gone. But if you review that info right before you're about to forget it, the memory resets and stays strong for longer. If you do this 3 or 4 times at specific intervals, maybe 1 day later, then 3 days later, then a week later, you glue it to your long-term memory forever. Most people cram for 6 hours once. The upgrade method is to study for 30 minutes, 5 times, spread across a week. You spend less total time, but you keep 100% more of the info. It's literally a cheat code for your brain. But wait, there's a catch. You can't do any of this if your brain is noisy. This is where we talk about deep work and the disaster of multitasking. The book is very clear. Your brain cannot upgrade while it's context switching. Every time you check a text message while trying to learn something, you pay a switching cost. It takes your brain about 20 minutes to get back into a state of deep focus after a single interruption. If you check your phone every 10 minutes, you are literally never in a state of deep learning. You're just brain shredding. Multitasking isn't a skill. It's a way to ensure you stay average at everything. Most people think they have a memory problem. They actually have an attention problem. We've fried our dopamine receptors with short-form video and constant notifications. Our brains are addicted to the new, which makes the deep feel boring. The book suggests a dopamine fast before you try to learn anything hard. No phone, no music, no distractions for 15 minutes before you start. Let your brain settle. It sounds simple, but in 2024, it's a revolutionary act. And the solution is surprisingly easy once you stop fighting your biology and start working with it. Check this out. One of the coolest parts of the book covers mnemonic palaces and visual anchoring. Our ancestors didn't need to remember abstract facts or strings of numbers. They needed to remember where the water was and which berries would kill them. Because of that, our brains evolved to be incredible at remembering places and weird images. We aren't built for spreadsheets. We're built for 3D environments. The book teaches you how to turn a boring grocery list or a complex business strategy into a 3D movie inside your head. You pick a place you know well, like your childhood home, and you place the things you want to remember in specific rooms. But here's the secret. The images have to be weird, gross, or hilarious. If you need to remember to buy milk, don't just imagine a carton of milk on your sofa. Imagine a giant, 6-foot-tall cow sitting on your sofa drinking a milkshake. Your brain will never forget that. It's called elaborative encoding. You're taking a boring fact and anchoring it to a vivid, emotional image. We're about to get into the how-to of building a memory palace for actual complex data, not just groceries. If this is helping you rethink your study habits or making you realize why you've been struggling, subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into human potential. We're just scratching the surface here. Now let's talk about the hardware. You can have the best software in the world, but if you're trying to run it on a broken laptop, it's going to crash. The book hammers home the biological trio: sleep, hydration, and movement. This part hit me hard because I'm definitely guilty of staying up late to finish one more thing. But the book explains that sleep is actually the save button for your brain. While you're sleeping, your brain is physically moving memories from short-term storage to long-term storage. If you don't sleep, that flush we talked about at the beginning, it happens way faster. You're essentially deleting your own progress. And movement? It's not just about your heart or your muscles. When you move your body, your brain produces a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists call it miracle grow for the brain. It literally helps new neurons grow and protects the ones you already have. The book suggests that 20 minutes of movement before a learning session can increase your retention by 20%. Think about that. Just walking around the block makes you 20% smarter for the next hour. And the craziest part? One specific type of rest actually does more for your memory than 3 hours of cramming. It's called a non-sleep deep rest, or just a 10-minute quiet break right after you learn something. No phone, no talking, just sitting there. It gives your brain the bandwidth to start the encoding process immediately. Most of us finish a task and immediately jump onto social media. That's like hitting cancel on a download right when it reaches 90%. Finally, we have to talk about the growth mindset. All these techniques, the memory palaces, the spaced repetition, the deep work, they don't mean anything if you don't believe your brain can actually change. The book calls this the upgrade mindset. We've been conditioned to think that our abilities are set in stone. We say things like, "I'm just not a math person," or "I have a bad memory." These aren't just descriptions, they're self-fulfilling prophecies. When you tell yourself you're bad at something, your brain stops trying to build the neural pathways for it. It literally shuts down the upgrade process. The one big takeaway from this entire book is this: learning is not something that happens to you. It is an active process of breaking and rebuilding neural pathways. If it feels easy, you aren't learning. You're just reviewing what you already know. If it feels like a struggle, if your head feels heavy and you're frustrated, that is the tension required for growth. Your brain is currently upgrading in those moments of struggle. I loved this book because it's practical. The audiobook format is especially great because the narrator uses rhythmic patterns and pauses to help you retain the very tips they're teaching. It feels like the book is practicing what it preaches. However, I'll be honest, some of the biohacking tips in the later chapters, like specific supplements or expensive gadgets, felt a bit like filler. You don't need a $500 headset to learn a new language. You just need the cognitive techniques we've talked about. Stick to the mental strategies, the active recall, and the spaced repetition. Those are the real heavy lifters. This book is for anyone who feels like they're losing their edge. Maybe you're a student who's overwhelmed, or maybe you're over 40 and you've noticed it takes you longer to get things than it used to. The science is clear. Your brain stays plastic, meaning it can change and grow until the day you die. You just have to give it the right inputs. So, here's my challenge to you. Pick one skill you've given up on because it was too hard. Maybe it's coding, a new language, or even just remembering people's names at work. Use the spaced repetition trick for just 7 days. Spend 10 minutes on it, then walk away. Come back the next day. Force yourself to recall it from memory before you look at your notes. Does your brain feel foggy by 2 p.m. every day? That's probably your hardware crying for help. Drink some water, go for a 10-minute walk, and stop checking your phone while you work. It's not about working harder. It's about working with the biology you were born with. Be honest. How many browser tabs do you have open right now? Each one of those is a little leak in your mental energy. Close them. Focus on one thing. Information is cheap. Retention is the new currency. In a world where everyone has access to Google, the person who can actually internalize and apply knowledge is the one who wins. Remember that 50% of your day your brain wants to flush away. You now have the plug to stop the drain. You aren't stuck with the software you had in high school. You can upgrade. You can learn faster. You can remember longer. It's not magic. It's just mechanics. Your brain is a muscle that grows under the weight of focused attention. Give it that attention, and it will give you back a life that's sharper, clearer, and way more interesting.
The struggle you feel when you're trying to learn something new, that's not failure. That's the feeling of your brain getting better. Embrace the grind, use the tools, and stop letting your best ideas slip through the cracks. It's time to run a better system.
What's the one thing you've always wanted to learn but felt too old or too slow to start? Drop it in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable to that 7-day challenge. I used to think I was just bad at names, but after using the visual anchoring trick from this book, I realized I just wasn't paying attention. I was lazy with my encoding. Once I started turning people's names into weird, vivid images, everything changed. Honestly, the first time I heard about memory palaces, I thought it sounded like some Sherlock Holmes fan fiction, but it actually works. It's the difference between trying to memorize a random string of numbers and remembering the plot of your favorite movie. One is hard, the other is automatic. We spend so much money upgrading our phones and our cars, but we rarely invest in upgrading the thing that actually runs our lives. Your brain is the most complex object in the known universe. It's time we started treating it like that. Stop the passive scrolling, start the active recall, and most importantly, get some sleep. Because at the end of the day, sleep is the save button for your life's work. If you're still here, you've already shown more focus than 90% of people online today. You've avoided the brain-shredding distractions for 25 minutes. That's a win. Now, go take that focus and apply it to something that actually matters. Your upgrade starts now. Think about the last time you really tried to master something. Maybe it was a musical instrument or a new software at work. Remember that feeling of hitting a wall? That's the moment most people quit. They think the wall is the end of their ability. But according to the book, that wall is actually where the neuroplasticity kicks in. It's the threshold of adaptation. If you can stay in that zone of frustration for just 10 more minutes, your brain starts to rewire itself to handle the load. It's like a runner's high, but for your intellect. We often look at geniuses and think they just get it. But if you look at their habits, they almost all use some version of these techniques. They don't just read, they interact. They don't just listen, they teach. They don't just work, they focus. This book isn't telling you to become a genius. It's telling you that genius is a set of habits that you can copy. I want you to think about your mental toolbox as a physical thing. Right now, it might just have a rusty hammer and a screwdriver. You're trying to build a skyscraper with tools meant for a birdhouse. By using active recall, spaced repetition, and mnemonic palaces, you're adding power tools to that box. You're making the impossible tasks feel routine. One thing that really stuck with me from the audiobook was the idea of contextual learning. Your brain loves connections. It doesn't like isolated facts. It wants to know how fact A relates to fact B. This is why storytelling is so powerful. If you can turn what you're learning into a story, with a beginning, a middle, and an end, your brain will hold on to it much tighter. It's why we remember movie plots from 10 years ago but forget what we had for lunch on Tuesday. Tuesday's lunch didn't have a plot. The movie did. If you're feeling overwhelmed by all these tips, just start with one. Seriously, just one. Don't try to build a memory palace while also doing a dopamine fast and spaced repetition. You'll burn out in 2 days. Start with the blank sheet method. Next time you finish a podcast, a book chapter, or a meeting, take 2 minutes and write down the 3 most important things you heard. That's it. That's the first step to the upgrade. You'll be surprised how much that one small habit changes your retention. You'll start to notice that you're actually owning the information instead of just renting it. And once you see the results, you'll want to try the next tool, and then the next. The world is getting noisier. The amount of information we're expected to process is doubling every few years. You can't keep up by running the old software. You need the upgrade. You need to become an accelerated learner. Not because it's a productivity hack, but because it's the only way to stay relevant in a world that never stops changing. The struggle is the signal that you're growing. Don't run from it. Lean into it. Your brain is ready for the update. You just have to hit install. Let's look at lesson 1 again, the idea that intelligence is a muscle. This is such a shift from how society treats us. We're labeled gifted or struggling from age 6. But the book points out that the brain is incredibly resilient. There are stories of people who lost half their brain in accidents and still learned to walk, talk, and even do complex math. If a brain can do that while missing half its physical structure, imagine what your healthy brain can do if you just stop telling it that it's not a math person. The "I'm just not good at this" lie is the most expensive thing you own. It costs you opportunities, it costs you confidence, and it costs you a future where you're capable of more. And about lesson 2, the Feynman technique. Most people use it wrong. They try to explain things using big words to sound smart. But the book says the real magic happens when you use metaphors. If you're trying to understand how a battery works, don't talk about ions and electrons right away. Talk about a hill and a bunch of balls rolling down it. If you can't find a metaphor, you don't understand the soul of the concept. Metaphors are the hooks that allow new information to hang on to things you already know. When you're doing your spaced repetition, don't just look at the facts. Look for the why. Why does this matter? How does this change how I see the world? When you add meaning to the repetition, the forgetting curve flattens out almost instantly. You aren't just memorizing, you're integrating. Now, lesson 4, deep work. This is the hardest one for most of us. We are addicted to the ping of a notification. That ping releases a tiny hit of dopamine. It feels good, but it's a low-quality dopamine. It's like eating candy when you're starving. It gives you a quick spike and then a massive crash. Deep learning requires high-quality dopamine, the kind you get from solving a hard problem or finally clicking with a new language. But you can't get to the high-quality stuff if you're constantly snacking on the low-quality notifications. The book suggests a focus fortress. This is a physical space where you only do deep work. No phone allowed. No quick checks of email. When you're in the fortress, your brain knows it's time to upgrade. Over time, just sitting in that chair or at that desk will trigger a state of flow. Your brain is a creature of habit. Use that to your advantage. Regarding lesson 5 and the memory palaces, don't be afraid to be childish. The more ridiculous your mental images are, the better they work. If you need to remember the name of a new client named Mr. Green, don't just say Green over and over. Imagine him turned into a giant green bean jumping on a trampoline. It feels silly, but your brain's hippocampus, the part that handles memory, loves silly. It ignores the mundane. It remembers the extraordinary. Let's talk about the biological trio again. Hydration is the one everyone misses. Your brain is about 75% water. Even a 2% drop in hydration can lead to a massive spike in brain fog and a drop in cognitive performance. If you feel stuck on a problem, don't reach for another coffee, reach for a glass of water. Coffee blocks the tired signals, but water actually fuels the thinking process. And movement, lesson 6. You don't need to run a marathon. Just standing up and stretching every 30 minutes keeps the blood flowing to your prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO of your brain. When you sit still for hours, the CEO starts to fall asleep. Movement wakes him up. The growth mindset in lesson 7 is the foundation of everything. You have to be okay with being bad at something for a while. The upgrade process is messy. You're going to fail. You're going to forget things. You're going to feel like the techniques aren't working. But that's just the rebuilding phase. When you build a new house, the site looks like a disaster for months. There's dirt and debris everywhere. But that doesn't mean the house isn't being built. It means the foundation is being laid. The audiobook version of Upgrade Your Brain is great because it feels like a coach is talking to you. It doesn't judge you for your 1990s software. It just shows you how to download the new version. The narrator uses these rhythmic patterns that actually mirror the spaced repetition the book talks about. It's meta-learning at its best. But I have to be critical about some of the biohacking stuff. There's a section on smart drugs and supplements that felt a bit out of place. While there is some science behind things like omega-3s or caffeine, the book makes it sound like you can just swallow a pill and become a genius. That's a dangerous road. The real pill is the effort. It's the active recall. It's the deep work. Don't look for a shortcut that doesn't exist. The struggle is the shortcut. Who is this for? If you're a student, this is your survival guide. If you're an entrepreneur, this is your competitive advantage. If you're just someone who wants to keep their mind sharp as they get older, this is your insurance policy. The brain is the only organ that can actually get better with age if you treat it right. Most other parts of our bodies wear out. The brain builds wisdom, which is just a massive web of interconnected neural pathways. The one big takeaway again: learning is an active process of breaking and rebuilding. It is not a spectator sport. You can't just watch videos, even this one, and expect to be upgraded. You have to take these tools and use them on something hard. So, what are you going to learn? Don't pick something easy. Pick something that scares you a little bit. Use the focus fortress for 20 minutes. Use active recall to test yourself. Use spaced repetition to keep it. Remember the 50% flush? It's happening right now. Your brain is already deciding which parts of this video to keep and which to toss. If you want to keep the upgrade, you need to do something with this information in the next hour. Tell someone what you learned. Write down the 4-step neural hijack. You have the tools. You have the hardware. Now, run the software. Your brain isn't full. It's just waiting for the right instructions. Stop staring at the paper and hoping. Start building the pathways. The mental toolbox is yours now. Don't let it rust. Every time you push through that feeling of, "This is too hard," you are literally changing the physical structure of your head. You are becoming a more capable version of yourself. The world is moving fast. Your 1990s software can't keep up. But your 2024 upgrade? That can handle anything. One last thing. Don't forget that non-sleep deep rest. After you finish this video, don't immediately click on another one. Close your eyes for 2 minutes. Let the download finish. Your brain will thank you. The forgetting curve is real, but so is your ability to beat it. You aren't slow. You aren't bad at names. You just didn't have the manual. Now you do. Go learn something. Go build something. Go upgrade. Think about the illusion of competence again. It's so easy to fall into. We watch a tutorial on YouTube and think, "Yeah, I get that." But until you try to do it yourself, without the video playing, you don't actually know it. You just recognize it. Recognition is not the same as mastery. Mastery is the ability to produce the information or the skill from nothing. This is why the active recall loops are so vital. They bridge the gap between "I've seen this before" and "I own this." It's the difference between being a fan in the stands and being the player on the field. The fan recognizes the plays, the player executes them. And the deep work aspect, it's not just about getting more done, it's about the quality of what you get done. When you're in a state of flow, you're not just processing information, you're synthesizing it. You're seeing patterns that you'd miss if you were distracted. You're making connections that lead to aha moments. Those moments are where the real upgrade happens. The book mentions that we are currently in an attention economy. Everyone is fighting for your focus. Advertisers, social media apps, even your own friends and family. Attention is your most valuable resource. If you give it away for free to things that don't matter, you have nothing left to invest in yourself. Learning how to learn is the ultimate meta skill. Once you master the upgrade process, you can apply it to anything. You can learn a new programming language in a weekend. You can understand a complex financial report in an hour. You can master a new hobby in a fraction of the time it takes everyone else. It's like having a superpower that no one else knows about. People will look at you and say, "How do you know so much?" Or, "How did you learn that so fast?" You can tell them about neuroplasticity and spaced repetition, but most of them won't listen. They'll keep looking for the smart pill. But you know better. You know that the secret is in the struggle. You know that the brain is a muscle. You know that the save button is sleep. So, as we wrap this up, think about that one skill again. The one you've been putting off. The one that feels too hard. That's your target. Use the neural hijack. 1. Focus. Deep work. 2. Encode. Metaphors and visuals. 3. Retrieve. Active recall. 4. Review. Spaced repetition. It's a simple loop, but it's the most powerful thing you can do for your future. The 1990s are over. Your brain's old operating system served you well, but it's time for the version 2.0. Go get it. And remember, if it feels like your brain is grinding gears, that's a good thing. It means the upgrade is working. Don't stop when it gets hard. Stop when you're finished. Your brain is the most incredible tool you will ever own. Learn how to use it. The flush is coming. Stop the drain. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you're winning. Every time you choose struggle over ease, you're growing. Every time you choose the upgrade over the status quo, you're becoming the person you were meant to be. It's not about being smarter than the next person. It's about being smarter than you were yesterday. The upgrade your brain philosophy isn't just about facts and figures. It's about freedom. The freedom to change your mind, change your career, and change your life. It all starts with how you handle the next 24 hours. Will you let the 50% flush happen? Or will you hit the save button? The choice is yours. Now, close the tabs, turn off the notifications, and go do something hard. Your brain is ready. Are you? Think about the dopamine fasting idea one more time. It sounds intense, but it's really just about giving your brain a chance to breathe. We are constantly bombarded with newness. Our brains are wired to pay attention to anything new, because in the wild, new meant either food or danger. But in the modern world, new is usually just an ad or a notification. By constantly feeding that hunger for the new, we're starving our ability to handle the deep. When you sit in silence for 15 minutes before a study session, you're letting the noise settle. You're clearing the cache on your mental hard drive. It makes the upgrade process much smoother. And the mnemonic palaces, don't worry if you're not a visual person. Everyone is a visual person. Your brain spends a massive amount of its energy processing visual information. Even if you think you can't see the images in your head, your brain is still mapping them out. The key is the effort of trying to create the image. That effort is what signals the hippocampus to pay attention. The biological trio is the foundation. You can't build a skyscraper on a swamp. Sleep, water, and movement. It sounds like basic advice your mom would give you, but it's backed by the most cutting-edge neuroscience. You are a biological organism, not a machine. You can't just keep overclocking your brain without giving it the fuel and rest it needs. The growth mindset is the glue that holds it all together. If you don't believe you can change, none of these tools will work. You'll try them once, they'll feel hard, and you'll say, "See, I told you I wasn't a math person." But if you believe that the struggle is the growth, you'll see that hard feeling as a sign of progress. You'll start to crave the struggle. You'll look for the things that make your brain grind gears, because you know that's where the upgrade happens. This isn't just about learning faster, it's about living better. A sharp mind is a curious mind. A curious mind is an engaged mind. And an engaged mind is a happy mind. The 1990s software is slow, buggy, and prone to crashes. The 2024 upgrade is fast, resilient, and capable of things you haven't even imagined yet. The download is complete. Now, go run the program. What's the one thing you're going to learn today? Don't just think about it, do it. Use the blank sheet method. Right now, write down the 3 biggest things you got from this video. That's your first active recall loop. See? You're already upgrading. Keep going. The neural hijack is yours. Use it well. Your brain is running on 1990s software. Here is the upgrade. It's time to stop staring at the paper and start building the future. The flush stops here. The upgrade starts now. Go be great. And one final thought. The book mentions that information is cheap. Retention is the new currency. We live in the age of information, but we're starving for wisdom. Wisdom only comes when information is internalized and applied. These tools are the bridge between knowing and being. Don't just be someone who knows things. Be someone who is capable. The upgrade isn't a destination, it's a process. You'll have to do it again tomorrow, and the day after that. But each time, it gets a little easier. Each time, you get a little faster. Until one day, you look back and realize you're a completely different person than you were when you started. That's the power of the upgrade. That's the power of your brain. Now, go use it. The focus fortress is waiting. The memory palace is under construction. The forgetting curve is being flattened. You've got this. The 1990s software is officially uninstalled. Welcome to the new version. Run it, test it, break it, rebuild it. That's what learning is. That's what being alive is. Go get 'em. And remember, if your brain feels foggy by 2 p.m., you know how to fix it. Water, movement, deep rest. No more excuses, just upgrades. The mental toolbox is full. Now, go build something amazing. Your future self is counting on it. The neural hijack is the key. You have the key. Open the door. The upgrade your brain journey doesn't end when the video stops. It's just beginning. Every page you read, every skill you practice, every name you remember, that's another save on your mental hard drive. Don't let the 50% flush win. You're in control now. The operating system is updated. The hardware is ready. The software is installed. Let's see what you can do. The one big takeaway, one last time. Learning is not something that happens to you. It is an active process of breaking and rebuilding neural pathways. If it feels easy, you aren't learning. If it feels like a struggle, your brain is currently upgrading. Embrace the struggle. Enjoy the upgrade. The 1990s software is a memory. The future is yours to learn. Go make it happen. The neural hijack is complete. Now, go change your world. Your brain is a muscle. Flex it. Build it. Upgrade it. Every single day. The flush is over. The retention has begun. You've got the tools. Now go do the work. The upgrade is waiting for you. Don't keep it waiting. Go, learn, grow, upgrade. The end of the video is just the start of your new brain. The 1990s software is gone. The 2024 upgrade is live. Use it. Love it. Live it. Your brain is the most incredible thing in the universe. Treat it like it is. The neural hijack is yours. The upgrade is now. Go be the person who remembers. Go be the person who learns. Go be the person who succeeds. The 1990s software is dead. Long live the upgrade. Go get 'em.